understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
So they also talked about the carbon tax issue. And, you know, it's all over the place. Here's another story out of Reuters. UN climate chief hustles on global warming deals. Big gaps remain in the new UN deal on global warming meant to be agreed in December. And time is running worryingly short with only 265 days left. See, it's a rush to come to some kind of a carbon credit deal just as the economy completely collapses around the world. And then we read the article by Stephen Lennet, vice chairman of Rothschild, where he says that we have to have a global carbon credit system, a carbon tax. It's right here. It's out of the Telegraph. It's carbon trading must be globally regulated. Let me just read some of this. Simon Lennet, executive vice chairman of Rothschild, has called for a new international body, the World Environment Agency, to regulate carbon trading. In a recently published paper, Trading Emissions for the Social Market Foundation, Mr. Lennet argues that an international problem of climate change demands an international solution. And it's all the same boogeyman nonsense, carbon regulations, emissions regulations. But at the end, he reveals who he really is, not only by saying all that stuff, but, it's right here. So emissions trading could establish a new world order for a sustainable planet, one based on the sharing of Earth's ability to absorb harmful emissions. It's the bad human beings. You'll be really happy when they pass all this legislation just to gut you with more taxes and kill you off. That's what it's about. So UN climate chief hustles on global 265 days. We need to bring in the Kyoto Protocol. And we need to do it, otherwise the Earth is going to end, and the sky is going to fall, and it's going to rain lava on everybody. And, a lot of the third world nations are already kind of, falling into line. By the way, we're going to take your calls starting in the next segment. It's 866-582-9933. But this one again out of Reuters. Singapore firm aims to make vessel emissions ship shape. See, they're not in... We covered this earlier in the week. There's no carbon credit system in place, but a lot, and I say a lot, of local governments they're just going to do it. And when I say local governments, I'm talking about other nations. We had one out of Tennessee saying they're getting ready for it. Come on. People need to wake up and realize that what these people are doing, and there's this Politico article, God, there's so much stuff. What these people are doing is setting it up. All right, here we go. China wants us to cover some emissions costs, so they're gonna decide what's fair, and all of a sudden we're going to be, forced to pay for emissions costs through taxes, by no means of our own, through tariffs and whatnot, because we're importing all these goods. Come on. Japan to seal carbon deal with Ukraine soon. Japan is setting it up with the Ukraine. Some of these are first world nations. Give me a break. But, people are like, no, it's to save the environment. Don't you want the children to live in a better tomorrow? The ice caps are going to melt. We're all going to die. The fear-mongering is just completely and totally over the top. Over the top. But, people are stupid, so they'll fall for it. So, Singapore's doing it, Japan's doing it, the Ukraine's doing it. Who's not doing it? Apparently we all are with this new UN climate change deal. Oh, God. I don't know. It's a little much. Climate change deals. Let's see. World Bank urges tougher G20 stand on protectionism. The World Bank urged a group of 20 leading developed and developing nations on Tuesday in a tougher their stance against protectionism by agreeing to report any new subsidies or trade restricting measures to the World Trade Organization. Again, giving the World Trade Organization more power, more control. Report everything. The World Trade Organization and the World Bank are in control now. Well, see what happened with economic isolationism? That's what caused all this. We have to work together. We have to build a new system. And that's why the IMF is now openly announcing, and it was covered on Jones's show today, IMF openly announcing a global super currency that they're just going to hand out to the big banks and establishments out there because they need to ensure that there's not a global depression. Come on. And you know what? It's not even in any of the U.S. papers. Not that I've seen. You know, I went out on the news wires right before the show. I usually come in an hour and a half early, and I go through and I look and I don't see anything about the IMF declaring that they're going to build a global super currency. Now, even I didn't think that they were going to put together a global super currency this quick. I thought they would ease into it with an establishment of, an Amero here, and then they had the euro, and then, who knows, maybe establish a new monetary system for all of Eurasia after they continue to dominate that region. But no, they're just going to come out with the global super currency, I guess, to kind of entice the, I don't want to say elites because, there's rings of elites, but the lower class elites to kind of hoard this money and try to build around it in all the regions. So a global super currency. Sounds a lot like world government. And then I just read you an article about, Rothschild talking about how they need a global emissions tax. Basically, everything needs to be globally regulated. Gordon Brown and his global New Deal. Globally. I guess globalism is just the best thing since breakfast, and we all need to do it, right? I mean, seriously. I mean, Jason Bermas is going global. Maybe I need to change my name. Gary Global. What do you think? Or Garrison Global, or Garrison Globalism. Garrison Globalism, and I'll just sit here and preach the wonders of world banking, how we should all take chips, how we need to have cloned food. Let's you know what? Garrison Globalism is going to start his own GMO food business where I'm just going to clone cows right to Codex Alimentarius, and we'll start like a little fast food chain. We'll call it Garrison's Globalism Good Burgers. Paul, you want to manage one of those? It'll be delicious, man. There will be no topless cocktail waitresses, as was asked by my producer. I know you guys can't hear that, but I can tell you this. There'll be delicious hormone-injected beef, which is cloned over and over again with all sorts of defects. Delicious. That's what globalism is about. Poisonous food, control over the population. Oh, and they want to kill 80% of you. We'll be back after this. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas.